Good morning. I am calling to order the Audit Committee meeting for Tuesday, September 9th. Let's start with an invocation, please, if you'll bow your heads. Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the people who are here today to do the county's business. Be with us as we go through this agenda. Some of these items on here are difficult and affect far reaches of our county and our community. Please help us to make these decisions in wisdom and in truth. In your name we pray. Amen. Please join me for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a quorum with 4 of the 4 members present, and we need an approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Have you had a chance to review these?
Move to accept.
Second. So moved. Do we have any changes to the agenda for this committee?
Ready for your approval, Madam Chair.
Very good. Let's move directly into our new business. Mr. Schneider, what do you have for us today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be with you on this beautiful morning here in Columbia County. Particularly nice day. We'll start with the Board of Elections. We did recently complete an internal audit of the Board of Elections. We went through all of our standard steps, such as looking at purchase card transactions without any exceptions, purchase requisitions, again, without any exceptions, timesheets. Also, it's kind of interesting, the Secretary of State regulates the Board of Elections in a certain way. We looked into that, found that there had been no findings there. We looked at issuance of W-2s or 1099s for temporary election workers and found no issues there. There are some rules around when you have to do a 1099 for an election worker. Found no issues. Made certain general inquiries and observations, and if you look at page 8 and especially page 9, you can see some interesting statistics that we found.
Before you move into that, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the page that talks about the workers who earn $600 or more during the year are issued a W-2 form by the IRS. Is that different than normal 1099?
I think the circumstance that there may be a special carve out for it, but I think the reason for that is just the de minimis earnings, because of course there are temporary employees that would come through the Board of Elections.
You don't have to issue a W-2 for somebody under $600, is that correct?
Correct, I believe.
So once they hit the $600 threshold, then it flips to W-2?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Continue, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yes, we did make some general inquiries and observations. We toured the warehouse. A lot of equipment these days in elections. It's, as we all know, we've all been to vote. There's fairly complicated equipment they're stored in a warehouse. And as I mentioned, there are some statistics that we found. I thought it was interesting that the percentage of active voters is around 75 to 78%. 75 in 2020, 78 in 2024. I find that kind of interesting. It's perhaps not as important as the other aspects of the internal audit, but we found no issues at the Board of Elections.
When we have, and this is, I guess, a budget, when we have mandates from the state that we have to change the kind of paper that we use, what happens to the equipment? Do we have to dispose of it? Do we have to burn it, shred it? Do you know, or this may be a question for Glenn?
The equipment, yes, if the equipment's replaced and they filled new equipment, then we would have to receive that new equipment and dispose of the old equipment.
So you destroy the old equipment?
Well, the old equipment's usually picked up by the state.
And then
new equipment's delivered by the state.
And then a couple of years ago, I think it was the last election, we had to have a different kind of paper, for example. We had a ton of the old kind of paper that was some kind of special expensive paper that we had to use, but then we had to get a new kind of paper. Did the state pay for that?
So what happened was it is proprietary paper, and that has to be used in their printers to prevent jam. So we had what we needed on hand, but then legislation was passed saying that that water, or that paper had to be watermarked. And so the new paper that you could use could only be the watermarked paper. Now, the question did come up, could we have used that paper somewhere else? It was highly recommended to not do that, to stop it from inadvertently ending up back in the printers and being used, and then you're going to have a ballot that's challenged. That just creates problems. So when something like that does happen, yeah, there's an impact funding
And that's on us or the
on
state
us.
pays for it?
That's on us.
Ancillary to prop.
They're not going to give us the money to do that, and especially for those expendables, paper, ink cartridges, that sort of thing, batteries or another. So it's, running elections, not cheap,
No.
not cheap.
Mr. Snyder, in looking at the equipment and storage and so, was part of your audit to see if we had any of the old stuff still there?
No, I did not look for outdated equipment, and we did not look specifically at the paper. We observed the warehouse, seeing that it was secured and that the equipment was being stored in a secure location. It was a significant amount of equipment, so we didn't count it 100%. We sort of spot checked it, and we didn't have nothing, tickled our antennas about any issues with that.
Thank you. Please continue.
So, are there any other questions about the Board of Elections?
All good? Thank you. Next.
So my second report is for the Clerk of Court. We recently went out and did some work with them. A little bit different as not only an elected official, but also they, as opposed to the Board of Elections, they actually handle some cash. So we started off with the most basic sort of counting down the change fund, walking through the process of cash collection and how it's recorded, receipted, and found no exceptions in any of that testing. We then traced that through the cash collection process to deposited in the bank, recorded in the general ledger, and we saw no issues in cash collections. Everything seemed to be in order there. Also, everything that the Clerk of Court brings in goes back out. We call it an agency fund, where everything they collect, they remit to somewhere else. And so we looked at cash remittances and looked at all the various different funds that the cash goes to. We noted no exceptions there. All of the supporting documentation agreed to the cash amounts and the checks clearing the bank account. We look for something we call excess cash, which is, as I just mentioned, because really everything that goes into the Clerk of Court's office comes back out. We look for any leftover funds, and we noted some what we considered immaterial differences, which I attribute to timing, because we traced everything in and everything out. At the moment in time that we asked, this is the cash you have, where does all this cash go? We were able to reconcile it down to a relatively small amount, considering issues we've had with that in other departments in the past. We looked at purchase requisitions and purchase card transactions without any issues at all. Looked at timesheets and made some general observations while we were there. The only issue that we had was with bank reconciliations. Preparing a bank reconciliation is like balancing your checkbook. You're simply trying to track transactions that haven't cleared the bank yet. And the reconciliation is the bridge between the bank statement and the general ledger. Now, there are two sides. So, our recommendation is to do a better job with bank reconciliations. There are really two sides to it. One is old outstanding checks. Really, we show there are several, but really there's one that's 6 years old for $151,000, really the only material check. And of course, that's dealt with through the unclaimed property process. When checks that are over 5 years old are remitted to the state as unclaimed property. Yesterday, I had a chance to sit down with Cindy Mason and discuss this, and she's fully aware of how the unclaimed property thing works. And so our recommendation, as far as outstanding checks over 5 years old, is to go ahead and remit those. And she agreed and suggested that she should do that. She suggested she should do that annually. I think that's a good idea.
I feel like we talked about this very issue the last time you were here from the audit of that department, and that was also what was said from management over there, that they would take care of it. Have they cleaned up some of them since then?
As I mentioned, you can see we've made a chart here of all the different checks. You can see that many of them are very small. The one that's $151,000 is from 2019, but 6 years old. There were some other checks which were literally $9. There's an amount $9.50 and $14.75 that showed up repeatedly. So that must be some sort of court fee refund or so, because it's the same amount over and over again. And some of those were very old, but also very immaterial. So again, I suggested that time to take a look at these things over 5 years old, go ahead and get them handled, and then an annual checkup of anything over 5 years old would be a good policy. The other side of outstanding items on a bank reconciliation is deposits in transit. And deposits in transit are very unusual in this modern age with fast transactions. The only way you would have a deposit in transit would be if you showed up at the bank on the 31st after close and made a night deposit, and then the deposit would show up in the bank account the following month and would be in your general ledger in the first month. So this amount of aged outstanding deposits is clearly an error. And we looked at it, again, I met with Cindy Mason yesterday. We looked at this together, and she acknowledged that it is incorrect. It's likely it feels to me like a glitch. And what I mean by that is so many of these, on this list of outstanding deposits, many of them are on the same day, which is January 31st of 2022. So it is an error in the accounting record, but doesn't represent any sort of missing money. I want to be clear about that. I always try to clarify when we have errors like this. It doesn't represent any sort of misappropriated funds in any way, but it's an error in accounting records which overstates the cash account. So, and there's one particular account that's what they call the general real estate account that has this overstatement in it. So, as I mentioned, I met with Cindy Mason yesterday and showed her the exact transactions that are of concern. I can't speak for her, but I can say that she did take the meeting seriously and seems to have made a commitment to get that fixed.
There's over $1 million of outstanding aged checks.
Well, 800,000.
Are those?
That's deposits.
Deposits.
And
Oh,
then
yes.
add
So,
that against checks, it's about.
yes, as just to be clear, there are the two things going in opposite directions. The aged outstanding checks are regular checks that just haven't been cashed yet, and that leads to the process of unclaimed property. There's a process to take care of that, and they do actually have an obligation to wait that 5 years, as I understand the way that's written. So there's a process for trying to contact the payee, and so that's one side, which I think is the easier side to fix. The other side is, again, some sort of error in record keeping that has created this deposit in transit that doesn't really exist. Are there any other questions about that? There's just one other thing I was going to mention that the clerk of court now prepares or sells passports, which we made some inquiries about starting in February. There are some passport options. You can get accelerated processing and stuff, but basically it's about $100 to get a passport, $35 fee to do it, which is paid to the clerk of court. And they've done about, from February until the time that we were looking at the numbers, they had done about 500 of these passports, which is about $17,000 in those fees. So we didn't see any issue with those, but just wanted to report back.
Is that $35 to the clerk of court or the clerk of court's office?
Clerk of court's office.
Now, the fees that are divided between the office and the clerk herself, I didn't see any notice, I didn't see any notes in here where you had audited that process. Can you tell us what you found? Did you look at that?
To be honest, no. That's very interesting. I would say when I was talking to Cindy Mason, I suggested that perhaps in regards to the reconciling items that we might come back a shorter time frame than the usual three years, maybe in a few months, come back and try to check out those bank reconciliations. And at that time, I could add to my procedures and sort of analysis of which funds go directly to the clerk versus to the clerk's office. Certainly looking.
I think that would be an item of interest for this committee. If you'll please add that. And
Directly to
yes,
the, when you say directly to the clerk, you mean taking it as personal compensation?
yes.
That's for the constitutional officers. There are circumstances which, as a voter, I kind of wish that it wasn't set up like this. But there are circumstances where constitutional officer can directly be compensated through transactions. And I believe $35 actually does fall in that category. I apologize for not being prepared to address that directly. But yes, there are circumstances where constitutional officers are allowed to be compensated directly for various transactions.
Yes, let's please add that to,
Sure.
To the next round. When we look at the ones coming up, I see maintenance and lodging tax for the next one. Can we add that as a third item here for next quarter?
You want to get back to the clerk of court before the next quarter? Sure.
Sure, yeah.
All right, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it would be prudent
And that,
to protect the county and also our clerk of court, John, for you to figure out where this money is being deposited and then how it's being distributed. She's legally allowed to keep those fees, but I think the process is also important.
Yes.
So if we could come up with that process.
Yes. So in the case of a $100 passport, the $100 goes to the Secretary of State right there. The $35 stays here in the county. And I can dig further into the exact process.
So to be clear, she has the legal right to $35.
Yes.
$17,000.
Yes, which comes up to about $17,000 over the.
In the first 6 months.
In discussing it with her, she further explained that the processing fee is covering some of the operational costs, such as the postage. So she's, in discussing it with her, she's funding the program with the $35, as she explained.
oh, so you feel like this 35 is going to the office, not the clerk personally?
Well, yes, in the sense that the $35 processing fee is being used to make in her explanation, being used to make the passport program self-sustaining so that it doesn't drain resources from other aspects of the office.
Very good. Well, I look forward to your report
I think it's
on
just
that next.
transparency perspective, if income to the clerk of court, citizens need to know.
Sure. Well, I can get more detailed information about that. As I mentioned, I had a good meeting with her yesterday, and we discussed some of the processes, but I can do it more in depth and get it into a report. We can bounce back to her and get it done in time for next quarter, so that we can also check on the bank reconciliation issue we're concerned about.
Good. And And let's see, we have maintenance and lodging tax for next
Yes.
quarter's report as well.
Yes, I was just actually discussing with deputy managers that I need to, I think I need to update my list of departments to better understand some recent changes. But the maintenance department and related departments are due for an internal audit, and I'm wanting to make sure that I fully understand the way those departments are set up before I commit to it, but I'm planning to do it.
Very good.
All right,
Thank you. We'll see you in
Thanks.
3 months.
all right.
Committee members, do you have any further questions about the information presented to us today? All right, let's see. Do we have any public comment? All right, in this section, I'd like to acknowledge our leadership Columbia County folks who are here. I see a bunch of you. I want you all stand up. No, don't just wave at me. Stand up, stand up. You gotta do the thing. Stand up and start at one end and tell who you are, who you work for, and go all the way down, and let's hear from you.
Ryan Logan.
Hey, Chief.
And Fire Chief.
Thank you for being here, and I hope you learned something. Please know that we're fixing to adjourn and then come back for some more committee meetings, so we hope you'll stay and hear some more about the county. We are going to adjourn this meeting at 8:51 and return in 3 minutes for Management and Internal Services. Thank you.